Hello everybody, I'm back. I have a tutorial by request. I got a comment on one of my former tutorial videos asking about how to get the sidebar to look like that. So let's bumble through this, shall we? I actually configured this on 0.g. And I'm trying to remember. I think I did configure this on the experimental branch when I first downloaded it quite a while back. And of course, I haven't played with experimental much, just mostly using it for these tutorial videos and then my most recent series. And it works about the same way. If you want to find a wonderful tutorial on how to change your font itself and font size, you can watch an old video by the great Vormithrax. And this video is probably 0.f or something. That era, anyway. But Vormithrax breaks it down really well, and I'm going to try to address some of it. Not how to change the font itself from Terminix to whatever. That part you got to get into your local files and stuff. You can watch Vormithrax's video on that. I will link it in the description if I can find it. But as far as the sidebar itself, the first problem you're going to have is this. 0.g and, well, now I may have disabled it too. Your install may have a tooltip at the very top of the sidebar telling you what key to hit to change your sidebar. And it may not. So we need to find that out. I'm going to hit shift /, otherwise known as question mark, and bring up my keybinds. Now there's a lot of keybinds, and I don't want to get lost in all this stuff, and I don't want to spend 10 minutes searching for it by hand, right, or by eye. So I'm going to hit /, which is going to give me searchability. And I'm going to type the word sidebar, or just side, and there you go. It says that our sidebar options has no bound key. Very likely you have no bound key, or it will tell you what your bound key is here. So, we want to bind a key for that. Now if I follow the tips on the screen here, it says add a local key binding as the plus sign. So I'm going to hit plus. Okay. Now you see a little letter appeared in front of sidebar options. Now this is a little clunky, but this is how it works, you know. If you've got a lot of options on your screen, it'll be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you've got to type the letter. So I'm going to hit A. Okay, now we've told it that that's the key that we want to rebind. In other words, the key for sidebar options, not the A key. Okay, it wants to know the new key for sidebar options. Now, I'm going to set mine to right brace, which I think is the old default key for this. That's a shift right bracket. I'm going to hit, and there it is. That right there, I think it's called a brace. Right brace. So that's been set. Now I'm going to hit escape and save my changes. Alright, we now have a key for configuring the sidebar. Let's hit shift right bracket, otherwise known as right brace. And our bound key works. Hell yeah. Alright, the first thing to note, now I may struggle with this just a little bit, but let's try it. Let's see, tab toggles panels on and off. Okay, S return or keypad enter to change display order, and escape Q or Q. Okay, so what it's not telling me is how to move from one side to the other. So why doesn't it tell me everything I need to know? I don't know. I think I hit left arrow. Yeah. Okay, so left arrow brings me over here. And what it amounts to is that we've got a lot of different kinds of sidebars here. Now, interestingly enough, very weirdly, I'm in this configuration menu. You know, the words limbs and sound and stats has appeared next to my sidebar. Those aren't going to be there when we leave. Okay, so it's kind of telling us what each thing is and how big of a space it takes up, but we can't see it because we've got this window in the way anyway, so it doesn't matter. If they would move, they probably need to move this thing over a little bit, but it would be complicated to do, I understand. So anyway, let's say like you may be starting with classic, and I think Not sure if I hit tab or enter. I'm going to try enter. Okay, yeah, so you hit enter or return when you're on this side of the panel. Okay, we've changed our whole sidebar. In other words, because it's a completely different organization. So let me see if I hit escape. Yeah, we don't have to save our changes. We can just switch between these sidebars. Now, there's all kind of new panels here that we didn't, or there's at least one new panel here that we didn't have before. I don't have the thing that says golf course service building on my compact sidebar. I don't have the weather or the moon on mine, I don't think. And I don't have the map thing that's right next to head, torso, left arm, whatever you call that. So, you know, that's because I haven't configured this. So I'm going to hit right brace again. Now we are under the classic sidebar. And this is the unconfigured classic sidebar, right? So I can take, like, say, that weather thing. I mean, if I come down here and hit tab, all right, now I'm going to hit escape to get out of there. All right, the weather part of that is gone. So you see, it's all about configuration on the fly. Now, there's, oops, now see, I went and did it. I hit tab. Let's hit left arrow again. We go back over here. Let's take a look at one other one that we're not using right now. I'm going to hit enter on one padding and hit escape. All right, we've got a whole different setup over here, which we can configure that setup, right brace. Let's say we don't need, for example, I usually don't have weather. I usually don't have wind. I generally don't have compass, right? I hit escape. Alright, it looks a little different over there, and now I can see my mini-map. And the reason for that is if you have too much information over here, you're going to get runoff going down the bottom. And you're never going to see that stuff down there as far as I know. I can't scroll down to find that stuff. So if you want to know what my configuration is, let's go over here to compact. This is the one I normally use. I hit enter on compact. Alright, and what I've done is I have limbs, but not self-aware limbs. If you want to toggle these, if I hit tab, limbs goes away. But that's basically my health bar. Sound, I probably don't need, to be honest. I never look at it, so I'm just going to get rid of it for now, because I never use sound. Let me look. Oh, but that also, isn't that also speed and mode? Yeah, no, we better leave that on there. Okay, so then my stats, I like to have because, you know, then I know if they're down. Weariness I need, time I need. Okay, needs self-aware I don't have. Environmental I don't have. Alternate environmental I don't have. Vehicle I do, so I know how fast I'm going. Compass I don't have, although a lot of people like to have that. And it is kind of handy, but I just don't have room for it. Armor, body status, and sundial I don't have. Log and map I do. Now, last thing to know is the order of things. Your compact sidebar may not be in this order. So let's say I want to move the map, aka the mini-map, above my log. I'm going to hit enter on the map, move it up one, and hit enter again. And when I hit escape now, you can see that my messages are actually at the bottom, and my mini-map is in the middle, or above them. So I just have things the way that I have things now. I've gotten used to it, and they're not necessarily better or worse. And that essentially is going to tell you everything you need to know about the side panel configurability, and also the way I have mine configured. If you want to look at, want it to look like that. The only thing, the last thing that you don't have is going to be your mini-map display and your text size, which we have to go to another menu for that. So let's hit escape. And we can go to our options here. Now, this looks a little bit different in 0.g, but it's basically exactly the same. On latest experimental, they enclosed this in sub-menus, which is actually quite nice. What we're looking for is graphics settings over here. I hit tab twice to go to graphics settings. And I want to look at my font settings. Now, here's what I did. I've got true font blending. My font width is 16, my font height and font size is 34. Now, according to Vormithrax, you want to about double your width to the height and size. So if I tweaked it just a little bit because I changed my actual font. But if you set this to about 12, these should be about 24. If you set this to about 10, these two here should be about 20. Okay. I didn't mess with the rest of the fonts. These were all default. The map and overmap fonts and stuff, all the same. Then, what else? There was one last thing. Yes, the pixel minimap. This was a tip that I got in the comments many episodes ago. This was probably 6 months ago. Someone dropped a comment about the graphical minimap, and I was so grateful for it. I love this configuration. My pixel minimap, I do have one. And you've got different drawing modes. The default is, I think, dots. Solid, I think, looks a lot better. I turned the brightness all the way up. I think default is 100. I turned it up to 300. And the minimap height, this is going to depend on, you just have to play with this depending on your font size to try to get everything in there the right way. But anyway, mine is 12. If you use my font settings, then this minimap height should probably work for you. I scale it and maintain the minimap aspect ratio. I do. This keeps it round. Now, if I don't keep it round, it turns out like an egg. I've played with it and it looks okay, but I don't know. This here is how I can actually see the creatures on my minimap. My beacon size is maximum. So this is how big the little flashing red and green dots are. And so as big as possible so I can see them. And the blink speed, now this is an inverse ratio. It controls how fast the hostile creature beacons blink on the pixel minimap. Value is multiplied by 200 milliseconds. I don't remember what the default was, but if I set it to 1, then these things blip every 200 milliseconds. If I set it to 50, they barely blip at all. And so I like them to blip quickly. I don't think I changed background color. Now, let's look here. That's not what I'm looking for. Color overlay. I think this was a very reasonable thing to do, too, and while we're on the topic of graphical configuration. Memory map overlay preset. I think this was a big deal for me. May not bother you. Let me give an example of what that does. If we go look... Let's see. Okay, so what this applies to is the areas that are grayed out, like over here. I have seen them, but I can't see them now. Now, what this does is, what I can see is brighter than what I cannot possibly see. Alright? I know this is kind of weird, but everything's configurable. Let's go back and I'll show you what it normally looks like by default. So it's probably the way yours looks. Color overlay options. Okay, if we have it set to something other than sepia dark and we go, I think, what is it? Darkened sepia. I think the default might be sepia. No, that didn't do anything. They may have changed the defaults on this. Yeah, I think they have, actually. Okay, never mind. Please forget that I brought that up. I'm going to change it back to what I had just before. I had it at sepia dark. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be changing anything on the current version. But it makes a big difference on 0.g, trust me. Is there anything else we can cover? Yeah, I think that's about it. So that's going to conclude this tutorial. If you have any more questions about the interface settings, or interface options, or anything like that, if I can possibly answer your question, I will give it a shot in one of my upcoming videos. Thank you for the tutorial request. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. A quick note here, I think I forgot one crucial piece of information after reviewing the footage, and I'm too lazy to record the whole thing again, so let's just do this in an addendum. I want to talk about the message log. So over here on my message log, the most recent message appears at the top. I think that's important because you see that my messages come to an end when they reach the mini map down there. So you may be missing messages because your message log will put the most recent message at the bottom, and I'm not sure you'll see it. So I don't know how that works because this is something I changed right away. By the way, when I hit escape to go to my options menu, I realize I've now got sidebar options here. Now that I've bound the key, it appears on my escape menu. So that's interesting. But anyway, let's go to options. And what I'm looking for is the interface options. I hit tab to go to interface options. On 0.g, you won't have these differentiations of a category, but it will be in here. There's a sidebar interface option, so I'm going to hit enter on that. There's a few things here. I guess you could move your sidebar to the left if you wanted to. I don't draw sidebar spacers. Here's what I'm looking for. Message log flow. I make it top. And that makes sure that all my most recent messages always float to the top. That's the order of update. And then I have no message duration and no message cooldown. These are totally disabled. So I guess with cooldown, this would make your messages go away after they'd sat there for a little while. Message history is I guess how many messages are going to appear in the Shift P log. And there's another key that I bound. I'll talk about it real quick, even though we're way over our time limit for a tutorial. The key that I bound was the period. I bound to the period key. What that does is it makes my minimap automatically disappear so I can read more messages, just in case I need to. I bound that by going to my key bindings menu. Now, I hit question mark to display the key bindings menu, but you can hit escape and find it here. So let's display the key bindings menu. And I believe that was under toggle minimap, but I'm going to hit / to search and type the word toggle, and it's going to give me multiple options here. There it is. I see toggle minimap is bound to period, which once again I can change. I want to see remove, add, or reset key binding. So what I need to do is hit I think plus. There we go. Now you've got to read the letter. So toggle minimap wound up under the letter T. Just it'll wind up something different every time. If I hit T, I can enter a new binding for toggle minimap. Yeah, I think this was unbound at the time, and I bound it to period. This key is already used for toggle minimap. Yes, okay. Thank you. That's fine. So there's that. There's one other key that I rebound. This, you might find this helpful. Since we're already over our time limit, we might as well go for this. It says spotted slime, 33 tiles to the west, safe mode is on, press plus to turn it off. Try to ignore monster. That used to be exclamation point. Now, I moved my character around using the number pad, and I was finding it really inconvenient to reach all the way over there and hit Shift 1 or exclamation point to turn off safe mode. So I rebound that key to plus, and doing so has helped me greatly because I've already got my fingers on the number pad, and the plus sign on my keyboard is just right there. And so I can just knock it off. The period sign is also on the number pad, so I can turn my minimap off and check my log flow. You know, older messages just by tapping like that. And I'm trying to remember if I rebound any other important keys. I think that where's my okay, movement menu, my armor menu. I don't know any spells to cast. Okay, no, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.